This is podcast number 2 in my 3-part series where I document my journey of building Property Llama into a billion-dollar business. As I go through this, today I'm focusing on 2 important aspects that a lot of people overlook when it comes to building a business. Now, if you want to get more of the details on Property Llama and actually how we're going to raise money for it to just dump some gasoline on the fire, come to the webinar on July 13th at noon. I'm inviting you to look over my shoulder as I share the plan with investors and we actively raise money to go out there and scale the business. So that webinar link will be in the show notes or send me an email if you can't find it. So the 2 things is team and traction. They are so important to grow and scale and maintain a business. So let's talk about people first, the team section of it. You've often heard me say this phrase, the right people on the bus. And that's something that stuck with me from a Jim Collins book. And you look at all the great teams out there, businesses, sports teams, they are teams. It's not one person doing everything. So the team, no matter what you want to conquer in life and excel at, you have to have the right team, the right people on the bus. And that's something that, Property Llama has for it. It's actually a really 1 + 1 = 3 with the team we have. We have really high quality people that, in my experience, you typically don't find in just real estate in general. My 2 co-founders come from a big tech background, and so they know how to deliver tech and make it extremely useful for the business and the end user. Hey, they can build tech, but they can also make usable tech. And if you see Property Llama, it's a beautiful piece of tech. But here's the other thing we have going on here. We have amazing, talented people, way above industry norm. So great, huge advantage to us. Now, if you go and look at the landscape, because we're talking real estate, and we always have to look at the 50,000-foot view. Because trust me, I spent a lot of time thinking about this. Hey, if I'm going to dump a lot of my money and resource into this, does this make sense not just in year 1, but year 10, year 20? The 2 things is, tech the last 20 years has just transformed so many things, as we know. And on the horizon, we have this next big growth of AI coming up. And so looking backwards, real estate is in the laggard when it comes to tech evolution or tech revolutionizing it over the last 20 years. Yeah, it's added some things. We have new apps, we have new this, but the core of it, the people, it really hasn't changed. If you look at sales and commissions and these online brokerages, they haven't been able to really change the model or come down, greatly reduce the cost. It stayed for the most part relatively the same. I mean, there's some pressure, some trends, but nothing massive like the other industries have had. Now, looking forward with AI, which, wow, that's a whole different game changer. This is why I feel good about AI, not, wiping out what we can do as real estate as either individual investors or, professionals. We have a big moat around us. Look at real estate, it is a people-to-people business. So we are dealing with, sometimes, the biggest asset purchase or sale for most people. It's highly emotional. And it's just so complicated. You have all sorts of people involved, and that always complicates things. Buyers, sellers, real estate agents, just people complicate things just in general. And then you look at the local markets here, every state, every county, every municipality has their own different way of doing things and storing things and tracking things. It's so fragmented and so disjointed. So it's gonna be very hard to go in there and streamline it. Anything that AI could, that we'll do in traveling or legal work or accounting or whatever it is, we have a really good moat around us. And then you put in the component of real estate financial advisory and helping people figure out what to do with their investments. Again, that's such a personal one-on-one thing. Now, yeah, I mean, there's going to be huge potential there for AI to help calculate things and run scenarios. And that's part of what we're going to build into the Property Llama, is building in that stuff in there. But then people want to talk to someone. They want to have hey, I want to bounce this idea off. I want to do this because it's not just the numbers, but hey, in my life over here, I've got, my kids, I got this. You've done this in the past. What do you think? So we have a great moat around us for the macro view. From our own team view, we have just A+++ people, I just say just way above industry average. And I say that very proudly, being able to attract talent like that. And that's just been kind of all the other talent we have as well, is just amazing A players. And so, to grow the business and then keep it going, people make up the business here. And so that is one thing Property Llama is, in my book, got an A+ on. Now, here's the other really important thing. It's traction, or I like to call it scoreboard. And I have a chip on my shoulder about this for sure. because, last 10 years, I see all these companies raise, 10 million, 50 million, $100 million, and it's off an idea or, someone that did something a while ago, or they have a pretty pitch deck, but they haven't produced $1 of revenue, not even profit, just like revenue. And that's something that, again, we have going for it. Like Property Llama, number one, we have a product that works. Like it's past the MVP, the minimum viable product stage. Like it works, it functions. We've been able to bootstrap that tech. And also we have used it to go out there and help do brokerage transactions with Envision advisors. We've used it to go out there and raise capital, with Iron Capital. Like it works in terms like helping to get investors' data in there, figure out what they're going to do, and then make the appropriate moves for their portfolio. We have sold training on there. We've like used it for different ways to go on there and just actually like monetizing its scoreboard. So when I look at that, I'm like, hey, I feel very proud of that because again, I just have a chip on my shoulder. I have a big chip on my shoulder about that because it's pissed me off over the years. Either like I haven't played the game right, or whatever it is. But like I'm proud that we're raising money with scoreboard. Rant over. But in terms of numbers here, let's talk about this. So don't quote me on these exact numbers here, but in the last 30 days of June, we've onboarded about $33 million in property value. So these are just new investors putting properties in there so they can learn what to do with it. And here's a crazy thing. That's organic growth. We're not running ad campaigns or doing that. That's just organic growth of like users inviting users in some instances and people getting plugged in because they want to get a portfolio review. And overall, we're like well over $1 billion in value in assets on the platform. So we got traction from like actually people using it, and actually we're starting to get some organic growth on there as well. And like I said, on the business side, like, hey, great, we get people's data in there, we help them figure out what to do, and it turns in transactions. Like the numbers I shared are just with, companies that I have, ownership in, like Envision Advisor, that's my brokerage team, and I don't have an exact number. We've done tens of millions of dollars in sales volume easily. It's probably $100 million plus now, but I want to be very conservative. Tens of millions of dollars in transactions based off of Property Llama. And then with Iron Capital, a lot better data on there. But, Iron Capital, basically about this week last year, we launched it. Lon Welsh co-founded it. Me and Richard and the team were there to help, create the system, everything up and running to help, raise the capital and get everything done so the investment community could go place it. And so for a cold start, we've raised about $43 million in 1 year. Now, a good chunk of that has been through Property Llama and our portfolio analyses, and then you combine the webinars in there and discussions. Like it's work to help people figure out, hey, I need to sell this, or I'm investing this, or do this. So in a nutshell, it's working at the end user. That's what matters. And we're getting traction on there because people are inviting other people on there. The next level up from a business perspective, it's creating transactions. And those are for my, companies. And I've talked to other people where, hey, they're using this agent to sell this, or they have a great syndication deal out of here. Phenomenal. I can't track those numbers yet. So we have massive traction, which just makes me feel very, very happy. Again, like I said, I have a chip on my shoulder. Anyway, I want to wrap this up because I want to keep it short and sweet and really just focus on those two T's, team and traction. We got them. And that's part of what I want to highlight with this webinar is not just have you come look over my shoulder, but also like we need to recruit more talented people. We need to add more people to the team. So come to the webinar, keep listening to this podcast, learn while we do this real-time documentary series on how we're building Property Llama. All right, so the next podcast, I'll actually talk about the business plan, how we're actually going to continue to grow it and scale it, because we have this amazing opportunity to take a hyper-local aspect of Denver and then replicate it nationally, but while we're keeping the important and must-have local roots of every real estate market. All right, I can't wait to tell you more in the next podcast.